week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean.
Chris.
Lee.
Sorry we've been away for the last couple of weeks. This real life thing, it's not all it's cracked up to be, is it?
It's been busy.
It's rubbish.
No.
How's our fortnight been, all of us? Well, it's been 3 weeks since we've talked.
Well,
I got 10 tattoos.
Christ, you've been
I
busy.
saw them.
I feel like I am still slightly not jet lagged, but the equivalent of jet lagged from the Isle of Man general election, just to bring a bit of Manx politics into it.
Because we all know our listenership likes Manx politics.
Yeah,
Is that a child or a cat?
That's Bruno, which is a cat for the uninitiated.
It's a cat eating a child.
It's a cat that thinks it's a human child.
Where did you get that child from? Oh, God.
You say that, but my cat has learned how to say hello and says it in the middle of the night whilst walking up the stairs really quietly,
Oh, I'm
which
sure
is
that's
fucking
sinister.
terrifying.
That cat would last approximately 32 seconds around me.
Yeah. Yeah. I will try and record it at some point. It is terrifying, especially when you wake up and we can hear it's hello. It's like, no, God, no. What is that?
What you need to do? Now the next step, you need to get another cat and train that to say, is it me you're looking for?
I didn't train this cat to say hello. I think it's just...
Well, you seem to have done a fucking good job of it.
Yeah, I need to record this, but yeah, my couple of weeks have been eventful, but unfortunately, I couldn't make last week's podcast due to a slight accident.
Tell more about the
nobody
accident.
was hurt. There was I for the first time in my life had a road traffic accident in which I was approaching stopped traffic. I pressed my brakes. Not very much happened, and I slid straight into the car in front.
Oh dear.
You did a Bottas.
Bottas Hungary, yeah, that was me. Yeah, I wasn't going too fast, or I wasn't. Luckily no one was hurt, as I say. No, hardly any damage to the car in front. I know the lady that I hit, she ended up going to hospital that night because she had bruises and a sore neck. So, which is unfortunate, but I mean, I am totally physically unhurt, and I think I've written off a 2-year-old van, which is also unfortunate, but it's a van. Vans can be replaced, people can't. So I'm just...
That's true.
Oh, hello. There's a cat.
Was that another cat?
That was Dizzy, not a child.
I nearly had a car accident for the first time on Saturday evening because I was late to meet friends for food. So I was driving into town, and I was all in a bit of a rush. So I got ready, jumped into the car, drove off, thought, this feels a little bit weird. Not thinking... I've got size 12 feet, and I was driving in size 12 winkle pickers. So what this meant was that I could press the accelerator down, but essentially between brake and clutch, pure guesswork.
So not a driving shoe then, that one.
Not a driving shoe, and I was coming down. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's something you could get used.
Oh, he's vanished this time.
Used to, but I'm used to driving little flat pumps. I'm here.
You are.
And,
No, he's still there.
Briefly glitch, but
Yeah.
it's all good.
And I was coming down Broadway towards the new dreaded roundel. And,
Not a roundabout, people, it's a roundel.
But I started braking because there was a few cars in front of me, and I put my foot clean on the clutch and thought, hang on a second, I'm not slowing down. So I nearly
Your left
did.
foot braking, Lee.
Yeah, but unfortunately the left foot was nowhere near the brake. But yeah, whoops. But it was fine. I got there. And then I had Chinese food.
Yeah, the closest I've come to an accident recently was last Monday morning when I was biking to work. I got an email which pissed me off a little bit. Sorry, it was Tuesday, and I thought I'm gonna have to go into the office as early as possible to sort this out, like now. And this was at about 7:45, and sort of threw my stuff into a bag, got on my bike, started riding down. I thought, it's a really nice day today. Sun's out. I can feel the wind in my hair. Oops. No helmet, just as a van comes round the roundabout and does what a lot of vans do and tried to kill me.
Just didn't see you coming around the roundabout. Or...
Yeah, because normally I wear a Dayglow green bike helmet, and I didn't have one.
I feel like I'm letting the
dear.
side down because I don't think I've had any sort of road incidents in the last couple of weeks. It's the advantage of
done it
driving
now.
to work at sort of 5 to 6 in the morning. There's not really anyone else around to drive into.
And only living 2 minutes drive from work, but it is up a 1-in-1 hill, so nobody is holding you at fault for driving, because I wouldn't want to walk that every
No,
morning.
I am not. Can't be asked walking up it.
No, the walk home would be great. Downhill, gravity. I'm a big fan of gravity.
Yeah, I think the only debacle I ever have on my journey is on a Thursday morning when the bin men turn up at 5 to 6 every Thursday without fail, and every Thursday without fail block me in for 10 minutes.
Oh dear.
They displease me, and for this reason, we like to make sure that the dirty cat litter is at the top of the bin.
Yes.
So
yeah,
that's
of course.
coming
yeah,
at
of
them.
course. Always, yeah.
We'll be cleaning the litter trays out on Wednesday as per usual then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
my
basically...
accident wasn't brake failure. It was just there was something on the road. I think like diesel or oil or something. So yeah, not
Lovely.
good. But no one was hurt.
Good.
That's the important part. So basically, that's been our fortnight. We've just been driving into or nearly being driven into.
Yes, basically, yeah.
So we had a Grand Prix over a week ago now. Do we remember?
It was one of the best.
Yeah, surprisingly for Sochi, yes, it was memorable.
It's the
It was
end.
one of the best this year, and it's probably the best Russian Grand Prix we've ever had.
It's the end of
definitely.
days. We've had a good French and a good Russian Grand Prix.
What is life?
And I'm very confused about the calendar going towards the end of the season.
So are F1.
I'm just turning up when I'm told. I'm trying not to really think too much about what's next, where we're going next. It's just I'll find out when we get there.
Yeah. It's basically that. So, I mean, we definitely know it's Turkey this weekend. Just a heads up, show's going to be late next week, because we can't record till Wednesday.
Yes, we are away.
We'll be on Sunday, we'll be doing the Crystal Maze live experience.
With Ed Tudor-Pole,
Unfortunately not. They couldn't get him or Richard O'Brien, so they've got a lot of out-of-work actors from the Manchester area to run round and be wacky.
when you say out-of-work actors from Manchester, do you mean like former Coronation Street stars?
Probably.
Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Norris Cole?
Is he still in it, though?
I've no idea.
I
Is
don't
he?
know who that is.
I haven't watched Coronation Street for nearly 20 years.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's been about that for me as well, actually.
I think
But,
the
I
last
can
time,
remember.
yeah, the last time I saw it, Richard was trying to bump Gail and the kids off.
Yeah.
And I got very confused because Richard used to be the nice guy teacher in Grange Hill when I watched that when I was a lot younger. And then all of a sudden he's gone all murdery. Everyone not British is now going, what? Which, in fairness, you do.
I'm with them.
I am quite lost also.
Fair enough. Anyway, yeah, so we've definitely got the Turkish Grand Prix this weekend. From then
Well,
on...
we think we have, yeah.
Yeah, from then on, Kota may or may not be going ahead depending if the track's fallen apart by then, because MotoGP had fun this week.
Yeah, very lumpy, it seems. They seem to be blaming this on the fact that the circuit is based on clay and hasn't been maintained very well, so some of it's sunk and some of it hasn't. And
because they resurfaced the first 9 turns, was it, last year?
They did resurface the first 9 turns, so everything from turn 10 onwards is a bit lumpy, and then some of the bits that they've resurfaced haven't gone very well, and then I think there was one corner that's got 3 different types of tarmac across the whole corner.
Nice. Now
which,
it's an American circuit.
Yeah, for MotoGP in the wet, they had a bit of fun on that.
Yeah, Moto 3 was looked like a lot of fun when everything went a bit wrong.
Yeah, I only saw Saturday sessions. I didn't actually get a chance to watch any of Sunday because football, iRacing, NFL, cycling.
Yes, some red flags and a race ban, I think, came out of the Moto 3.
Yes, yeah.
So this is what could happen to F1 and F2 and W Series at Kota.
But has there actually been word that Formula One are worried about the circuit?
I don't think there has
Standard.
as yet, but I
'Cause
imagine they'll be looking
it might
at it.
be, yeah, it might be a bike specific thing.
It
That's,
might,
that's
yeah,
obviously
yeah. I imagine anything like that is going to affect bikes more than F1, but I don't think it'll help F1.
No, it won't. They'll any data that they will have collected on sort of suspension, if the circuit has subsided, that will that'll be no good to anyone. They'll have to start again.
WEC were apparently very whingy when they went there earlier in the year as well.
I thought Alonso had left that series.
Hey.
Talking of a lack of data, apparently they've water blasted the circuit at Turkey, so none of the grip levels are going to be anywhere close to last year because it had only just been resurfaced for last year's impromptu race, and everyone's data is going to be more or less useless. So for the second year on the trot, they're going into it with no information whatsoever on the surface.
It did
Good.
worked out all right last year. It was a good race.
Apart from for Charles Leclerc,
Bad last corner.
he ran out of grip at the end.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he ran out of grip trying to attack. Was it Perez?
Yep, and got caught by Vettel.
Yeah.
Yeah, caught and passed by Vettel.
Yeah.
Which was Vettel's last podium for Ferrari, of course.
And he still had one for Aston Martin.
Mm-hmm.
He's had one out of the two that he's had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after COTA, we've then got Mexico, and surprisingly, there is no sign of crisis over the Mexican Grand Prix.
Not at the moment, no. There's still questions over the Brazilian Grand Prix, isn't there? Purely because
Brazil.
of this. Yeah, the situation in Brazil has never really calmed down. But I think they've got kind of Formula One. I'm talking about here. They have to employ that kind of bubble mentality that they did, last year, and hope that no fans get too close to them.
Yeah. And then from there, it all goes east. So Jeddah has now officially been announced.
Despite the fact the circuit's nowhere near ready.
Well, sorry, Jeddah was announced at the start of the year, which is nowhere near ready. The Losail circuit in Qatar, which somebody said looked like a ghost springing up and shouting "boo."
I'm a big fan of Losail in MotoGP. It usually throws up a decent race. How it'll work for cars, I don't know.
I remember many years ago when MotoGP wasn't £1 million a year to watch, that there was a sandstorm that caused crosswinds, and because of that, because it's such an undulating circuit, there's quite a few almost hairpin turns that caused hell for the bikes. Again, that's probably a bike specific thing, but it make it interesting if you got tailwind, headwind for F1, because Losail is in the middle of a desert.
It is. I think it's possibly even more deserty than Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. And Qatar has signed a deal, hasn't it, to run a Grand Prix for 10 years. But not all at Losail, because they want to run a street circuit in Doha.
Oh,
that makes more sense.
Now, I've been to Doha, and I was very confused when I left the aeroplane at 3 a.m. and wondered why they put us inside a heated hangar in the Middle East. It was only when I got onto the tarmac I realised I wasn't in a heated hangar. I was actually outside, and it was 33 degrees at 3 a.m.
a little bit toasty then.
Ooh. So I'm guessing the Qatar race is going to be a night race.
It is a night race in the bikes, isn't it, usually?
It's a twilighty, I think. It's not usually dark, but it's heading that way.
Because I think they do say that they have to hold it later on just because the tyres will melt during the day.
Seems reasonable.
So it would appear we'll get that sort of normal-ish European starting times.
So I think the MotoGP is normally sort of 6, 7 o'clock.
Their time or our time?
Our time.
Oh, right, okay. But then again, that's at a different time of year, so...
Very true.
Yeah, because I've not actually seen when that's going to be. And then, of course, finishing the season off, the now traditional and wrong Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the new circuit with a couple of hairpins taken out.
They've taken out the chicane,
Oh, is
I
it
believe.
the chicane that's gone?
They're taking out the chicane in Sector 1. You know, the one where Liuzzi and Schumacher ended up having a tangle. I believe they've taken that out, and they've taken out the chicane at the end of the second straight to make it a lot faster. I believe. I will have a look at this, but if my internet will allow.
So the Qatar Grand Prix, it will be a twilight race, but they haven't announced a start time as yet.
Right, okay.
And also no Qatar Grand Prix in 2022 because they will be concentrating on the World Cup.
That's fair.
Oh, yes, because that's the thing, because that's happening at the end of November. Which, coincidentally, is when apparently the next F1 season will finish. Because Stefano Domenicali said only today, hashtag Monday News for once, the next year will be 23 races. They're good at saying it'll be 23 races.
Yep.
This is the third year on the trot they've said it's going to be 23
Plan for 23,
races.
we'll see what happens.
But instead of finishing in the middle of December, next year's is going to finish in the middle of November. Now that leads me to think, is it going to be an earlier start, or are they getting rid of the summer break?
No, it's mid-March till mid-November. 23 races.
Oh, we're going to have more back-to-backs and probably
back-to-back.
triple headers again.
Quite likely.
Which apparently were never going to happen again after the first time they did it, because it didn't clash with the World Cup in 2018.
Well, the teams...
I like double headers.
It was triple headers. Yeah,
double headers are great. Double headers
and triple headers. The more the better, but I like it. I'm a fan.
It depends on the triple header, doesn't it? 'Cause I think did the first triple header we ever had, it was a bit much, wasn't it? Because was France involved, which is always a bit of a dirge anyway. And
was it two? Yeah.
If you get a couple of shitty ones, it feels like a long haul.
Yeah, but including what was going on with the triple headers we've had. Last year we had 3 triple headers, didn't we?
Yeah.
The teams were saying that it's too much. Staff are going to burn out. People are going to make mistakes, and when people make mistakes in pit lanes, for example, that's when people get hurt. So it's a safety issue to consider. And I think Red Bull were actually the loudest on this when it came to perhaps reducing the number of triple headers. So we'll see what happens.
What Whinger Spice was complaining about something. Bloody hell.
Whinger Spice.
I've got to thank friend of the podcast Jeff Sharp for that.
See, the thing is, if you're constantly doing the races, you don't have time to be like flying planes through tunnels or whatever it is they've been doing recently.
Yeah, that's as impressive as that is. I don't see why we needed to.
Yeah, what does it achieve really in the grand scale of things?
Yeah. Oh, this is impressive.
Why?
And now it's finished.
Yeah,
the thing is,
it's like I signed
on all these Red Bull. So on all these Red Bull things, the only reason anybody watches it is just in case somebody dies. It's all morbid curiosity. When I watched that, I just thought, I wonder if he'll crash. And the same reason I watched the jump from Stratus. I wonder if he'll die.
Yeah, you only watch the cracked ice, which is a cross between
that's mad
speed skating and bobsleigh, just to see if somebody loses a finger.
Yeah,
or a jugular. Yeah, I've signed up to this. Signed up to Microsoft Game Pass. So I've got Flight Simulator on my gaming PC. I was prattling about with it the other night, and I thought I'm going to do a Red Bull stunt, and I flew a plane through London Bridge and thought, that really wasn't satisfying. I wonder if it's that dull in real life.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I imagine when you actually might die, there's probably a little bit more on it.
Were you doing it on an Xbox pad?
No, I was using a flight joystick.
Oh, okay. You put halfway there then.
It's not a full-on, HOTAS thing, but it's a 3D rotational joystick with a thrust lever.
Ooh.
I got sad and geeky with gaming. You know that you've seen my sim racing rig now. It used to be a wheel without force feedback and some plastic pedals.
Looks nice. It's looking good.
Now I'm looking at something that says McLaren GT3. I might have go hard or go home. I went hard and it stays at home, and if I buy any more, I'll have to live with it.
Yeah, I know. Easy.
Easy.
Anyway, the Russian Grand Prix. I think we need to mention it. We've been avoiding talking about our abject disappointment
I was horrifically disappointed that I turned off all notifications for Formula One based things for the rest of that Sunday.
Oh, you needed a complete F1 detox.
And I went for a walk. And I didn't even wear my McLaren hoodie.
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah,
so upset I was.
Talking like Yoda, you were.
Indeed.
No, I mean, I was absolutely gutted for Lando. He deserved that win, and if that rain had been 10 minutes later, he'd have got it.
Yeah.
I was
absolutely.
saying all afternoon, because we usually sort of throw the chat room open on Discord, and everyone's sort of in there doing text chat while the race is on. There's about 40 or 50 of us. If you want to join in with it, just go onto the website and click on the link. We were all quoting Virtual Statman all afternoon, saying he's inconveniently fast enough to be able to do this.
Yes, yeah, he was. I don't know if it stayed dry or if Lewis, would have caught him. I get the feeling he probably would have done anyway, but
I think he just stayed where he was, that second and a half behind, because it's all Lewis could do with Ricardo as well.
Now, I had a theory. I came up with a theory on this last Sunday afternoon before the rain started, when Lewis got to within a second and a half and didn't seem to be making much of a dint after that. Sort of occasionally getting in DRS range, but then falling back again. I don't think it's the Mercedes that's not set up to be able to follow. I think that's Lewis's personal preference with his car setup. Bottas will have his car set up to be able to follow as best he can, because he will only ever be wingman and expected to run second, or if there's a problem and he's at the back, pass people. And to do that, you've got to be able to successfully follow. I think Lewis is that, I won't say overconfident, but that confident that he will have a car that people will be following. The setup on his car is done in a way so it's aerodynamically suited to leading rather than following. I don't think
the only caveat for that is the fact that Bottas had the same issue in Monza. He got so far up the grid and then just stalled.
In Monza, he was stuck behind Perez, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But he did so well getting so far up the grid, and then he got to a certain level of driver / level of car, and then just stalled out. Yeah, so I think it's it's a mixture of both.
Yeah, I don't think the Mercedes was fast enough to pass the Red Bull in Monza, which is why I think he got to where he did behind Perez and couldn't pass, because again it's the inconveniently fast. But I think Lewis would struggle more passing people just because he's got his car set up to give him as much punch as he can get in clean air, but that compromises your out and out speed when you're in dirty air. This is no slur on Lewis and his passing ability, because if he's got a car set up to follow people, or if he sets his car up to follow people and pass them, he can definitely do that. Here comes the accusations of being a fanboy. Oh no, it's a cat. It's all right. And I think it's just the way that he likes his car, and it's not the fact that the Mercedes can't follow. It's that Lewis doesn't think he'll be doing a lot of following.
I mean, it's a bold choice this year. If that's the case, I'm not so sure. I think I don't even think it's the Mercedes. I think we see it less in the midfield just because the cars are a bit closer in comparison. But I think it's just one of the problems with Formula One at the minute that hopefully next year is going to fix.
Yeah. Now, talking to next year's cars, apparently they're not going to be as easy to drive. I say good.
Yeah, absolutely.
If these are truly the 19 best drivers in Mazepin in the world. Now, I'm sorry, the jury's not out anymore. He should be. If these are the best or the richest parented drivers in the world, then yeah, make them bloody work for it. Show that you're so good.
I agree.
Yeah, as far as Mazepin goes, that guy gives Talentless a bad name.
I don't think Schumacher's doing much better than him.
Schumacher's not doing much better, but I think Mazepin's lack of anything is highlighted by the fact that I think Schumacher's getting the best out of what that car can do, and that's probably meshing with the best that Schumacher can do.
I think they're both doing like pretty. Well, no, I'm not even going to give judgment on either of them really until they've got a better car. I don't think it's fair on either.
I think in a better next year, I think Haas will be closer to getting further up the grid, but I don't think things will improve that much.
I think the thing is, the car doesn't necessarily need to be closer. It just needs to be a better car to drive. You know, in the same way as the Williams isn't a good car as far as out and out raw pace with what's around it, but it's a better car to drive, which at least allows in the hands of George Russell to pull something special out now and again.
Gonna separate the men from the boys, isn't it? Next year, Not that I don't mean that in a terrible way, but we are going to. Anybody who is lacking is going to be found out.
I don't think if Mick Schumacher's surname was different, I don't think he's good enough to be in Formula One. I don't think Mazepin's good enough to be in Formula One either.
I was going to say,
I agree. When we've got drivers, who should possibly be in Formula One and are not, and we've seen that many times in the past. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely Mick Schumacher's surname that's taken him to Formula One. I just, much like we said about Sirotkin and Stroll in that Williams, we don't know how good or bad they are because their car is so shit.
I think we got an idea with Sirotkin.
Yeah, but we couldn't know for definite. But I can't remember whether the head-to-head with Sirotkin and Stroll was fairly close or a Stroll totally, destroyed Sirotkin. The Stroll's developing into a competent Formula One driver, despite the fact that he still doesn't know how to check his mirrors. Hence, Sebastian Vettel's massive frustration in Russia.
That was ridiculous.
And also, possibly the funniest bit of team radio as well. I don't know if it was edited to look like that. Can you stay out on these tyres? Yes. Spin into the barrier.
Are we allowed to believe that it wasn't edited?
Let's believe that it wasn't edited.
I firmly hope it wasn't.
Yeah. I think Mick Schumacher, in a better car, could do a job as good as any other driver. He's not his dad.
That's the problem, though. You can't really compare a lot of drivers to his dad. Okay, it turns out there's a couple on the grid at the moment that are in that league. Hamilton and Vettel, I would say, are up there with Michael Schumacher.
In terms of talent.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate that any failings that Mick's got are being sort of more exacerbated by, look at these people. They're on the grid with you, and they've got similar levels of talent to what your dad had. Why don't you have?
I'm sure that there'll be a lot of people disagreeing with me out there, but I think this current crop of drivers.
That's what you're here for.
Yeah. But I think this current crop of drivers in Formula One might be the strongest field in Formula One history. I think it's been getting that way, and it's been pushing. Since we had like all the champions on the grid that year.
Yeah,
it's been pushing back into that thing where you go, oh right, well there's let's say Mick Schumacher, Mazepin, and
Latifi,
Giovinazzi.
I was going to say
Tsunoda.
What's it? Tsunoda, yeah. Let's say they look iffy to be where they are, and Giovinazzi can go in that as well. Sorry, but then when you look at the top teams of say like Bottas and Hamilton, Bottas in a different situation. I know we give Bottas some stick, but if he'd have been in Mercedes with, like we say, with Rosberg, they'd have traded some championships between them. He'd be a 2-time world champion. if he'd spent the same time in Mercedes as he has done with Lewis Hamilton with a different teammate, something like that. So Mercedes has a world champion, a multiple world champion, and a potential world champion. Ferrari has 2 potential world champions. McLaren has 2 potential world champions. Red Bull, I mean, if you look at it in a case of different years, through different eras, I think Perez was absolutely, if he was in, how I always talk about Formula One coming to a certain driver and like suiting that style, if you'd have stuck him back in groove tyre days, where the whole idea of being in Formula One was to keep your tyres alive, Perez is definitely like a top tier, top running driver. Like Alpine has a world champion in it. Jury's out on Ocon, but he's got a win now. He's a Grand Prix winner. Gasly is a Grand Prix winner in a Toro Rosso, and he is looking stronger by the day. George Russell, arguably one of the best drivers in the grid, in one of the worst cars on the grid. There just seems to be that if you're not like a
Danny
rubbish
Ricciardo,
driver,
Lando Norris, there's a wealth of talent. I get what you're saying.
But the thing is, it's like if you go, Lance Stroll's rubbish, or Mick Schumacher's doing rubbish. And there's like a small handful of drivers that's rubbish or not rubbish, but maybe not Formula One caliber on the grid. But the ones that are Formula One caliber could all be race winners and all be world champions. And I can't remember that before.
No, I mean that's the thing at the moment. There are that many drivers, even in the cars that they've got, capable of winning a race. All right, I can't. If Belgium had have happened, I couldn't see George hanging on to that, and he didn't hang on to his 3rd place from Sochi. But in a Mercedes, he damn near had a win if it hadn't have been for 2 sets of tyre problems.
Yeah.
And he is capable of winning a race and outperforming his teammate, which obviously you've got to do to win something. But there's a lot of drivers on the grid at the moment that are capable of winning in the right circumstances.
How about more than half the current grid won races?
That is a damn good.
So let's do it. So all 4 at Mercedes and Red Bull.
Hamilton,
Ricardo,
yes. Verstappen, yes.
Ocon.
Bottas, yes. Norris, Perez. Sainz hasn't won yet, has he?
Norris hasn't won yet. I'm sorry.
So
yes, he has. He
won. The 4
yes,
from
he
Red
did.
Bull and Mercedes, Ricardo, both the Alpine drivers, Gasly, and then
Kimi Räikkönen.
Kimi, of course. So that's
Sebastian
9.
Vettel.
10.
There's 10.
So we got Hamilton.
Yep.
And Bottas, as you say, from Mercedes.
Yep.
Both Red Bull drivers. Ricardo from McLaren.
Yep. Both
Charles Leclerc. Did you include Charles Leclerc?
I did not include. So that would be
Pierre
11.
Gasly. Fernando Alonso. Did you include Alonso?
I included
and
both,
Ocon?
both the Alpines.
Yeah. So 11 drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
More than half the grid.
Robert Kubica.
So out of the 21 drivers this year, 12 of them have won races.
But only ever 11 at a time because Kubica replaced Raikkonen.
True.
Well, yes.
Sorry, Kimi can't make it. You are number 11.
Just need to get Maldonado back and that'll bump the numbers up a bit more.
Lee's still wanting Jensen to come back. I mean, Jacques Villeneuve could make a return. He is still racing in something.
Jacques Villeneuve, he's got a big mouth on him at the moment. Again.
He's racing in the Euro NASCAR series. There is a race this Sunday. I'm gutted I'm going to miss it.
Euro NASCAR?
Yes.
Remind me what NASCAR stands for again.
North American Stock Car Association Racers or something?
Yeah, so Euro NASCAR.
Should it be like Yuskar or something instead?
It's the Euro Wheeling Tour Pro NASCAR Series, or that I don't know.
Euro Auto.
So yeah, apparently he's still racing in that. I haven't seen him race yet, and I've got to admit I'm not looking forward to watching it when I do. But I think the season's still got a couple more races to run. So when I'm around, when there's one on, it's on Motorsport TV. I will take one for the team.
Oh, joy!
That means you'll be watching it as well, unless you duck out and go to the
It does not
gym.
necessarily mean I will be watching it. It means I.
Sean's
can
at work
possibly
that
leave the
day.
room. Yes,
You don't work Sundays.
doesn't matter.
So we keep skirting the issue, Sochi.
Just gutted for Lando. I mean, I heard Max Verstappen say after the race that I think it was his own. Is it Ziggo, the Dutch channel that cover Formula One? They asked him if he thought Lando had made the wrong decision. He said no. Lando had to make that decision because he was out in front.
A couple of drivers have said that now. I've heard.
Yeah, Lando had to make that decision, and he wouldn't have known because he would be the first driver to hit when it got too wet. So everybody else uses him as the
Yardstick.
when to come. Yeah, as when to come in. So
I suppose it was the
unfortunately
same
for Lando,
It would have been the same for whichever race it was that Ocon won, where there was the restart, and Hamilton took the restart because he had track position, and everyone else came in for new tyres.
Yeah.
Hamilton would have looked silly if he'd come in for new tyres, but then ended up looking silly because he didn't.
Yeah. That whole thing was silly.
Well, yes, there is that.
Yeah, I mean, they were saying in commentary at the time, Lewis was in the prime position to make the call because you're in the worst position if you're the leader. Because if you come in, change, the guy behind you doesn't, then
you've thrown away a win.
Unless the weather does what it did.
Yeah. No, it's a real shame.
Yeah, it was just gambling on whether the rain was going to get harder or not, and it did. We should do a quick.
I mean, if it would have just stayed the same intensity, he had that. He had the pace on Lewis in the wet, which, I mean, let's face it as well. That's particularly fucking cool as well, because Lewis Hamilton is one of the best drivers in the wet, probably of all time.
All Lando needed to do was stay within 6 seconds of Lewis's lap time for the rest of the race, and he got it.
Yeah.
And it was just that bad that he couldn't. I think we need to do a Rockstars and Wankers for the race. Wanker, the rain.
Rain. Yeah. Well, no, because it added excitement. It didn't give us the result we wanted, but by fuck, it was exciting.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going in the Rockstar category as well.
Yeah.
The rain specifics, Wanker. The rain in general, Rockstar. Lando, definitely Rockstar.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know it's been a week and a bit. Can we remember anything else?
Verstappen was Rockstar.
Yeah, coming through from the back.
Yeah, 20th to 2nd.
I thought he was going to win that race coming to, at one point. Just the way he was making his way through it. I thought, fuck, he's just no stopping him.
I'll let Chris back into the chat because he dropped out again. Because I just heard the ping. He's not showing up yet. he'll be here in a second. We'll just Phil carry on. Oh, here he is.
By Phil, you mean just do the podcast?
Just keep talking shite amongst yourselves. That's what we usually do, isn't it?
I'm back for now.
I don't know if you heard, Chris. We were doing Rockstars and Wankers.
Rockstars and Wankers. I don't know if the weather's a rockstar or a wanker.
It's a little of both, isn't it?
We've gone for both. The rain, Rockstar. The rain, specifically how it happened, Wanker.
The internet's a wanker.
Right now it is, yeah. Thanks, Manx Telecom, yeah.
It would make me a wanker.
8th placed Kimi Räikkönen, Rockstar.
Yeah,
Rockstar, yeah,
yes.
absolutely, yeah.
I think Alpha might be making a mistake.
No, I don't think so. I think they're doing the right thing.
I don't believe I'm just taking this one race in isolation, and I realise Kimi has had a bit of a torrid season in a pretty underperforming Alfa Romeo. But in the same position, I don't believe Bottas can do what Kimi was doing in that race.
It's not
He's
Alpha
chosen
who are
to
making the
retire,
mistake,
hasn't he?
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kimi's
Yeah.
walking.
And I feel it's a walking before pushed moment for him.
I think
I don't think he had the
Bottas,
opportunity to stay, because they had the opportunity of Bottas.
I think depending on where Alfa are next year, you'll get Williams Bottas back at Alfa Romeo, not
No?
number 2 at Mercedes. But also Rockstar George Russell for scoring point
Yes.
after that qualifying. 'Cause we haven't spoke about the qualifying.
Yeah, I mean he's really got the 1 lap pace of that car sus now.
If I were Lewis Hamilton, I'd be quite worried that he's going to be my teammate next year. He's out-qualified him twice already this year, and he's not even in a Mercedes yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you put it like that just sounds like the good old days of Williams.
Yeah, but it isn't.
I think Russell's just going to do Hamilton next year the same way Ricciardo did Vettel when he went to Red Bull.
But who could you ask for as a better support driver than 7 or potentially 8-time world champion Lewis Hamilton?
I think it depends on how Lewis Hamilton takes competition.
Yeah, 'cause it didn't go well with Vettel, did it? Vettel, you would never
No.
say was a support driver to Ricciardo.
Yeah, and I think lots of the like the talky support Hamilton gives other drivers and stuff like that, and the slaps on the back and things like that. I think it's all because he's in front.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
yeah,
easy.
I
It's
do-
easy to compliment those that are behind you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's easy to be magnanimous in victory. And
I think 2022 is going to be 2007 Part 2, just with Lewis playing the old guy this time instead of Fernando.
yes, I do. I think you've seen it this year. Like, I don't think people realize just how far Lewis should be behind in this championship. Max has had bad luck on a couple of races. He had was it a breakdown in a race which he should have won. There should have been a 25 points.
It was
his way.
Azerbaijan, wasn't it, when the tyre
Yeah.
blew up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoved him in a wall.
Lewis got a bunch of free points in Silverstone
Yep.
on Max. Like
Max
this
got a
is
hospital trip.
This is Max's championship this year.
Now,
7 wins
now,
to 5 as well.
round about now,
Yeah.
we're starting to get all the tweets saying we're Verstappen fanboys and hate Hamilton and we are haters.
Oh yeah, I know, but that's great. I love it. Gives me strength. But yeah, I think we're seeing a proper changing of the guard. I think between because the young guys are really stepping up this year.
Yeah.
Regardless of machinery as well. I don't think this has been a good year for Lewis Hamilton. It's not been a good year, but I feel it's not been a good year for Lewis Hamilton because he's actually being challenged.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Blazing Saddles quote, isn't it? There's always going to be a faster gun in the West.
Yeah. I think maybe he's in that situation as well. Maybe not situation is probably the wrong word, but he's in that point in his career. Where you see like certain people get to a level like Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan,
Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, where they become so good that when someone else comes out that's as good as them and challenges them, they can't handle it because it's not. I think it's a big reason why lots of sports people in that that level become religious. Like there's a real big thing with these guys turning to religion, and I think it's a psychological way of them trying to even just justify to themselves how they have this ability to do this one thing. It can't just be all hard work.
Oh,
it can't be just luck. It must be given to me by something.
Oh, bloody
higher
hell.
than me.
Tom Brady's an atheist. Does that mean he's going to stay on top of his game for another 40 bloody years?
Probbers, he'll probably hold it together better. But I just think there's this mode where people can get themselves in, which probably brings an awful lot of success, like Lewis has had. But the minute that armor gets a chink in it, I think it's dead fragile. And I think that's what Russell has. He might not do it. Don't get me wrong. He might come in and be mastered immediately. Lewis raises his game all of a sudden, and George is trying to work out where to find that extra 3/10 from. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think he's
I don't. We saw George how quickly he adapted to the 2020 Mercedes at Sakhir. He comfortably led that race, whilst there was all sorts of chaos going on behind him on that first lap. He was 2-3 seconds ahead by the end of lap one.
Am I going to am I wrong in saying that as far as drivers go? I mean, we haven't seen him properly tested week in, week out in a car that can challenge for wins. But in the times where he's got an immense amount of pressure on him, I can't think of anybody else that's handles pressure as well as he's done.
Who? Hamilton?
No, George Russell.
I don't think we've not really seen him have, as you say, we've not really seen that massive amount of pressure on him, have we? Really?
Mercedes race.
I don't know the Mercedes race. It was.
I think qualifying out of position as well and holding cars back, which are much faster than you, like he did in Russia before he did his pit stop, and that's when he started to fall backwards. He just seems to not be bothered about what's going on around him, and it allows him to pull the maximum out of himself.
I think it could be the case. I mean, it's that is the way that some athletes deal with it. You just have a natural ability to blot everything else out, and your focus is just on what you're doing and forget the rest. I
can't wait. I can't wait for next year.
New cars, etc., and everything else is going to be good. Just sort of segueing slightly into the future, 2026. They've agreed to get rid of the MGUH for 2026 regulations, hoping that that's going to entice more manufacturers in.
So we'll probably end up seeing the return of Honda again.
Possibly. The MG UK stays, and there are still some other details to be shaken out. But the MGUH is not going to be a part of the power unit from 2026 onwards.
So from my little understanding, MG UK is very similar to sort of hybrid systems in standard road cars anyway.
Yeah, it's old Kers.
Yeah,
it's old Kers, the MG UK.
So it's not going to be a sort of great leap of technology for let's just throw it out there. Toyota, for example, who make a hybrid or two.
I think Porsche are the ones who've been linked as well, and of course they've done.
What's weird is it's Porsche and Audi,
and VW.
Well, yeah, and all three. The thing is, Porsche and Audi are owned by Volkswagen.
Yeah.
So they control their own. They've still got autonomous control of their motorsport teams, haven't they? It's not like they're not overbeared by It's not like the Daimler Group at Mercedes. It's Volkswagen leave them alone to do whatever it is that they want to do. But it's funny that all three of them might want to come into Formula One when you've got a parent company and two subsidiaries, if you will, of Volkswagen Group.
Wasn't Domenicali quite high up with Volkswagen Group before he?
It was Audi. He was with Audi's WEC team, wasn't he? I think.
I think he was all round head of motorsport
for Audi.
Yeah.
So that's their Le Mans and sort of everything, isn't it? I don't know what else Audi are involved in.
I think they've
Formula E.
WRC.
Very possibly, yes. They've
probably got entries in there. I think he was.
I don't know. WRC's been trimmed right down. It was very boring lately.
Ford versus Subaru, and that's about it.
Basically. Well, no, I don't think.
Oh no, it's
Citroën,
Seat,
isn't it?
Seat and Citroën.
Yeah,
That's
it.
They're the big two.
And Ford sometimes are around about in their Fiestas.
Yeah, I can't work that one out. Anyone go to see the rally over here at the weekend? No, I thought not.
No, I
saw the
used to. I used to
video
go and watch some of the local rallies, but they've lost significance over here now, really, haven't they? They used to be part of British championships and things, and they're just not anymore.
I saw the video of someone trashing it on the shakedown, which was a bit much.
Yeah, the shakedown stage. Make sure you put the car together properly as it comes off the boat. And
It's essentially the warm-up lap, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you would say, the shakedown.
Yeah, someone got very airborne over a hedge.
Oops.
I mean, that to me is proper rallying. If it stays on four wheels all the time, and the roof doesn't have scratches on it, you aren't trying hard enough. This is why you will never get me in a rally car. No, we saw them all come off the ferry.
Yes.
And that's about as far as it got. Any other news that we can think of?
No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because I mean, there's the other thing that's coming out on next year's calendar is there's going to be 8 sprint qualifying.
Yes.
Not allowed to call them races.
I don't give a shit. Cars start. And then they finish some laps later whilst trying to jostle for position. That's a race.
I'd argue even standard qualifying is a race for pole position. You know.
Yeah, but the thing is with the sprint races, they're not really jostling for position after the first 3 corners. You know, is it worth moving one place further up the grid or completely trashing it and having to start from the pit lane tomorrow when you already had 8th guaranteed?
Yeah, like Pierre Gasly and Monza.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
not right now. Not right now. I think once they've tweaked this, it'll be fine.
More points is what's needed, isn't it, for sprint
Yeah,
races?
Absolutely. Same point. Same half points. Half length race. Half points.
yeah, in the same order.
Yeah, or if it's third length races, is it what it is now? Third length.
Yeah,
Something like that.
But
But
it should
still
be
half
third the amount
half
of points. Yeah.
yeah. Make it make it worthwhile. Then at least you've got something to push for. Because I don't think this 3-2-1 and it sets the grid. It's the risk reward factor. You know,
Yeah.
too much risk for nowhere near enough reward, and yeah, it's just I don't know. It needs something doing with it. And if we're gonna have 8 of them, they need to make it more race relevant.
I don't think it's so much the we don't need to worry about the format right now because it's the cars which are what we need to worry about. So we can only really make an assessment on sprint races when we get into next year. I think the whole idea of this is not of having the sprint races this year isn't really to see if the format works over the course of a weekend. It was to see whether people would tune in.
And I think they did.
Yeah.
Are we heading too far down the entertainment road? That is the question.
It is entertainment. That's what sport is. Sport is entertainment. Just as much.
Sport is competition, and the competition becomes entertaining.
Yeah,
usually.
the same thing. That's like saying that a TV, that the Walking Dead is a television show which has a plot which becomes entertainment. It's if it's not entertaining, it's not fun. That's the thing. And if it's more entertaining, it's more fun.
See, you like watching snooker, whereas I find that totally boring as fuck. So,
yeah, I can get that. Yeah.
To me, there's no entertainment in snooker, and there's nothing you can do to snooker to make it more entertaining.
Guns.
I was going to say fire.
So what did Steve Davis suggest? An extra coloured ball, the orange.
I like it. I take it. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I tire of the negative social media stuff around sport because that's all it is. That's all you get on social media is negativity towards everything that's done in sport. I miss the days when
You've never been a York City fan. Trust me, that has happened for years.
No, but I miss the days where these conversations about whether there should be a sprint race or whether there shouldn't be a sprint race were held around tables in bars with about 6 or 7 people, where they just talk about the sport, then they go home and not worry about it. The problem with social media
you've got to hate
is,
somebody if you disagree with them.
Yeah, but it also gives people an inflated opinion of their own opinion, because all of a sudden every single person becomes a media outlet, and it's like.
How
the
many
fact
podcasts have you got at the moment?
Oh no, I absolutely agree that I'm adding to the noise. I do. I'm the first person to say that I know nothing about nothing, especially Formula One. But when you've got these people coming out in droves, filling in surveys for what the future Formula One rules should be, and more importantly, that you've got companies taking notice of these things, and even then, what is it's a minuscule. I mean, it's a lot of people. Sorry, but on the whole, it's a minuscule amount of people that use Twitter. I don't think it's a particularly good sample size of people either. And it seems to swing things. But I don't think it's not necessarily them that's swinging it.
Yeah,
then you get fucking idiots like Gallagher that jumps on board every single thing and then essentially uses cleverly worded tweets to swing large amounts of fucking likes and follows and retweets his way. So he's kind of gaming the system, and he's gaming the system to the detriment of the sport he's trying to cover. And it's not just him. This is in fucking everything from politics to fucking sport to movies. I think it's the most fucking destructive thing in the world right now.
How else are you going to gauge public opinion, though? Because you can only sort of reach a certain...
ratings figures.
Yeah, but you don't know if people are enjoying it or not. They might just have...
Doesn't matter. Rating figures are the only figures that matter. You know if they don't enjoy it because they don't tune in next week.
Well, that escalated quickly.
No, but do you not agree? Do you not agree that us
I understand
fans,
what you're saying, but
us as fans,
it's elevated from voting with your feet to voting with your opinion on Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now the
fans of a football team that aren't doing well will vote with their feet, and as I say, with their manager. If they disagree with what the team's doing or how the club's being run, they'll stop turning up to games. Soon you'll know it's an empty stadium. That means less money. That means the people have to act. A manager gets fired. Things have to change.
The thing is, you don't even know in the social media comments. You don't even know if those people actually watch the sport. We've all seen those comments on the bottom of articles of where it'll be Lewis Hamilton could win the championship, and there'll be a comment underneath going, "I love Formula One. Me support many Vettels," and you're just like, "Well, you've never seen a race. I know you've never seen a race. I don't even know what you're doing commenting on this." And that's that's why it's not a good sample size, because
the thing is, though,
you don't know what the conversion of the rate is.
The thing is, though, organisations have always used focus groups. And social media is giving organisations a chance to use the entire planet as a focus group. Mm-hmm. Or the entire planet that's active on there as a focus group. Rightly or wrongly. Now, I'm no marketing expert, but yes, I can see in some ways it's a bad thing because you're getting too wide a scattergun of opinions. But in some way it's a good thing, because if you're getting, the larger your sample size, and I'm talking head count rather than percentage of the population that watches. But the larger your sample size, the more accurate it's likely to be. Yeah, there's always going to be some outliers, like the ones with the comments. ESPN's F1 section, where comments go to die.
Yes,
which
is I must say is rapidly becoming,
along with IQ
every
points.
comment section.
ESPN comments that still disagree with the halo.
Yes.
Yeah, they wouldn't have it in NASCAR.
But it just seems that...
Exactly.
But it just seems like an overabundance of negativity on every side. It's even when you look at fandom, like Flood just said, you've got to hate something, and it's we've all had it. Like the comments from doing this podcast, it's like you say about you criticize someone else, you're a Lewis Hamilton fanboy. You criticize Lewis Hamilton, you hate Lewis Hamilton, or worse. It's just it's so extreme on social media.
Yeah,
I don't think it's healthy for the sport or people using it, to be honest.
I mean, I've got to admit, I've cut down on my social media usage quite a lot. I'm definitely a lot more selective now, just because things that were being said were affecting my mental health personally. Things that were being aimed at me, and I've definitely had to pull back just to save my own sanity. And I tend not to read comment sections a great deal. I don't even think anyone uses them on our website, thankfully. Don't think this is an invitation to start writing something daft in the comments. I've still got God mode. I can still delete them.
Got a God complex.
Hey,
I reserve the right to be a benevolent overlord.
Hey, I'm a Yorkshireman. I'm always bloody right. Watched the first 30 seconds of a video the other night saying on YouTube saying Yorkshire doesn't really exist. I nearly kicked the TV in disgust, and then I remembered it's not paid for yet, so I couldn't.
That's the YouTube video that explains how Yorkshire is broken into different counties, not as one place.
Yeah, Yorkshire isn't a real place because there's 3, maybe 4 Yorkshires.
Well, East Ridings?
3 ridings. Because riding comes from thirds.
Does it?
Yeah, that's why there was only that's why there was only 3 ridings, and South Yorkshire was made up from bits of the others.
Yeah, there's North Yorkshire, West Yorkshire,
and East Yorkshire.
But South Yorkshire doesn't exist. It's not real.
Well,
Am I allowed to call them D-Dars, or does that get jacked?
No, that's people from Sheffield. Rotherham and Barnsley are something else.
Yeah, but Sheffield's in South Yorkshire, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But so Rotherham and Barnsley, and it gets even more territorial. There's nothing a Yorkshireman hates apart from a Lancastrian more than another Yorkshireman. we're like groundskeeper Willie with a better accent.
You are very Scottish. You're the Scottish people of England.
I bought a round once. Yeah, can't remember when. I got the receipt. I got the receipt. I put it through expenses. It was all good. I have just
I got over it.
I have just noticed that Mercedes are increasing their involvement in the America's Cup yachting, and they've now got James Allison on the project.
Mercedes, as in Ineos. Let's be honest.
Mercedes, as in Ineos, who own the UK America's Cup team.
Yeah, and it's going to be Ineos Formula 1 team at some point in the future.
Ineos Wolf Racing. Don't forget Toto still owns a third of it.
Yeah, but even still, I still think it'll be Ineos Racing, perhaps with Toto Wolff at the helm, who knows.
But yeah, this is going to be the second America's Cup team, or the second attempt by a British America's Cup team with F1 technology in there, because of course Adrian Newey designed the last boat. So
was it the last one? It was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Well, I think they only have the America's Cup once every 5-6 years or something.
I thought they had it much more frequently than that. I thought it was like every other.
I don't know. It goes on for about 3 years, I think. It's that hard to tell. I mean, yachting does not make for good TV.
It does if someone falls over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. You watch it in the Olympics with somebody falling in, but other than that, so yeah, the yachts and F1 thing is still apparently going to be a thing. So maybe they'll start making cars that work in the wet. Do you want to do some predictions for Turkey this weekend?
Ooh.
And a little bit of a preview.
Do it.
Because it's only the second race at the Istanbul Park circuit in many years. I can't remember when the last one was. I know we said it last year. But
10, 11, somewhere around about
yeah,
there.
Since the end of the noughties,
Yes.
or a couple of years on from there. And it was a good race last year. The circuit was very unpredictable, very slippery, which apparently isn't going to be the case this year, but we all know what happens when they make last-minute adjustments to the track surface. So it's
always good things.
It's either going to fall apart, or it's like, oh shit, we didn't pressure wash it with water, we used diesel. You might want you might want to put some chains on your tyres. So, what do we reckon? Red Bull are looking good.
Yeah.
McLaren are looking good.
Toto has implied that Hamilton will take an engine penalty. Which probably means he won't, and he's just winding Red Bull up.
Yeah.
But he has implied
I think it makes sense.
It
I think
does,
it makes sense
it
for them
does.
to get it out of the way. There's only 7 races left.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's coming. I mean, we still don't know either. When you look at the issues Latifi had, apparently, I was listening to the race today. Bottas's get him down the road to take care of Verstappen was actually a concern over the power unit. It wasn't. They might have took a risk if he'd qualified higher up the grid, but they needed to change that engine anyway. It wasn't just to try and stick him in the road.
And it was the new power unit that he'd taken in Monza as well, wasn't it?
Oh.
Yes. So this is the thing, is there might actually be like an underlying issue with that upgrade that they're a bit concerned about. So it might be the case that they don't want to change Lewis's engine, because if they have to change Lewis's engine to the one that they think there might be a problem with, they're probably going to wait until they can get a fix involved.
So they only have to change it once, and they don't have to change it twice.
Well, if Lewis needs two engine changes, I mean, that was a crazy race he had, like Verstappen had, to do the damage limitation, but you would feel that's probably not going to happen for Lewis if he has to take 2 engine changes. I think if that happens, he's lost the championship. So I don't think they have that luxury.
I think we'll be seeing Sainz taking a new engine soon, because Leclerc got the one with the upgrades for Sochi, and I think there will be one available for Sainz, and I think they will give it to him because it seemed to be okay.
Yeah.
Well, they have to, really, don't they? Because they've been playing so much catch up engine wise, and if the engines are homologated from next year, aren't they?
Yeah,
so
they are.
Yeah.
Although I think the homologation comes in after pre-season testing.
Yeah, it's after pre-season testing, but they need to get as much R&D with their new engines in as possible, don't they? So it would make sense if both of them taking another couple of engines before the end of the year, especially if it looks like they're nailed into 4th by McLaren
and possibly the Alphas and the Hasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, because they have got the other 2 teams.
Yeah,
they've
got a good sample size.
Yeah.
This is why you've got a feel for Alpine.
Yeah, they're just kind of guessing, really.
Yeah. I've got faith for Alpine, because the next year, through the whole hybrid era, is going to be the first time they've actually used the twin turbo design, isn't it?
Which is where they went wrong right from the start.
Yeah. So they've made some decent progress. So hopefully, if they can, you learn twice as much from doing things wrong as you do from doing them right.
Which is why Honda are now so good, because the whole of the McLaren fuck up.
That was exactly everything not to do.
Yeah, that was. I mean, they got 6 years of experience out of 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got good feelings for. I don't know if they're going to be championship contenders, but I think they're going to be in a decent place going forward.
Yeah, I reckon so. So what do we reckon? Top three for this weekend.
Lando's winning it, especially if Lewis is going to take this engine penalty as well.
And it's wet.
Yeah,
the wet
Lando,
could be fun.
Verstappen, Bottas.
going to go Verstappen, Lando, and I reckon Leclerc might be in with a shout.
I'm going to go Verstappen, Lando, Ricciardo.
Ooh, double
I'm
McLaren
going to
podium.
stick with the McLaren hot hand.
Well, especially if the weather is a little bit inclement, as we're expecting it to be at this moment, but we shall see. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Hamilton, Vettel,
Ooh,
Wild.
Verstappen,
bloody hell.
flying the ointment.
If you want to get your predictions in, then go to the website, threelegs4wheels.com, go to the games section and look for the prediction league. Put in your top three, pole position, fastest lap, is there going to be a safety car or not, and how many non-classified runners there are, that is DNS, DNF, or disqualified even. And you've got until 5 minutes before qualifying starts on Saturday to do that, because I've set it up right this time. and a few people have already put the predictions in. And if you want to chat online with the community, F1 community during the race, it's really good. Sign up to our Discord, the link's on the website. And the text chat's always open during the races, and it's a good crowd on there. We're not going to be around for the race this weekend. Oh, we're going to have to record
It's the second year in a row that I have missed Turkey Live.
Yes, because you had to work last year, didn't you?
I did, and I got a bit overhyped, and I
Is that Chris vanishing again or coming back? He's coming back. We'll let him back in.
Yeah, I feel like I missed a lot of the fun with Turkey last year, so we shall see.
Yeah, we'll have to watch the highlights Sunday night. That does mean staying sober.
Don't forget as well that Turkey last year was a title deciding race, and it was decided at the first corner when Valtteri Bottas decided to play Sebastian Vettel's Captain Pirouette.
Well, he's just saying hello randomly.
Oh, no, you just went completely quiet.
Oh, no.
I think everybody's internet's having a bit of a cock about tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we're having internet fun. Tell you what, should we just do a total shunt and get the hell out of here?
Let's do it. This one was sent in by Taylor Stevens. He has a good second name, and it's spelt correctly.
Excellent.
Oh, with a PH then?
No.
That would be Stephens. Or Step Hens.
Yeah.
He doesn't get on with his real hens.
There was somebody that went put one in that I was supposed to use her total shunt ages ago, and then because of shenanigans that have happened over the few weeks, I haven't done it. I will do it next week. Unfortunately, as Instagram has gone down, I can't get to it, can I?
Bastards.
I did have one standing by, actually. Just before you do this one, I've got a huge shout out to John the Kiwi from Canada via the Falkland Islands. It's a long story.
Jesus.
Who sent over to me and Sean an absolutely massive box of Canadian snacks and a handwritten total shunt.
Oh, right, okay.
So tonight we have been eating, Dare maple cream biscuits.
Yeah, they're all right then.
They're all right. They're in the shape of a maple leaf. I don't think there could be much more Canadian. But yeah, he's handwritten a total shunt. So can I just stake doing that one next week as a thank you for a Canadian care package?
You can say thank you all you want. I trust people that use handwriting now about as much as people that do phone calls.
Oh, don't worry, it wasn't in green crayon. It was nothing.
So I'll give you a ring. No, you won't, you sick bastard. Text me like everybody else in the world.
Can't. Facebook Messenger's down.
You can do text.
That relies on having everyone's phone number. Anyway, let's get on with this shunt from Mr. Step Hens.
Yes.
I was born
Yay.
in 1975.
Okay.
No, they are nothing but a child.
My father was a travel agent. My father was a travel agent from England.
Right, can I just say that I was born in 1970, so you've got the year wrong for starters. For those that don't know, my dad was a travel agent.
It could be you.
From England.
From England.
Shire. Number 3. Queen Mary was pivotal to my career.
The Queen Mary.
Just says Queen Mary.
Right, okay, so I'm thinking something to do with Long Beach. Because that's where the Queen Mary is parked permanently.
Right.
And, of course, it's got the Long Beach circuit next to it, where the IndyCar finale was last weekend. Pato was robbed. So it's going to be something related to Indy. Maybe somebody who's won a championship, because that's usually the last race of the season.
Mm-hmm.
About the right age for Dan Weldon.
It would have been, yeah. It's not a terrible shout.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Chris?
Yeah, I could go down Weldon.
Should we go with that for the first guess?
Why not?
Number 4. After failing in F1, I turned to the kart series.
Still sounding
Still
about
has
right.
potential.
Yeah.
Number 5. Monaco inspired my career.
Monaco inspired my career, unless that was like the first race you watched as a kid. And said, Daddy, I want to do that.
And chances are, if you were born in 1975, Monaco would have been the first race you watched as a kid, because that was sort of early 80s. That was all that they showed. That and the British Grand Prix.
We don't know that they're British, just that their dad is.
That's true.
Number 6. I was part of Takuma Sato's first IndyCar win. A major part, sorry, not just a part, a major part.
What team did he drive for when he won?
A brave one.
one with a massive spare parts budget.
Yeah, I think he's been for a couple of different teams, hasn't he?
He's been through about 9,000 cars.
Brake discs? We don't need brake discs. Let's sign him up.
What team did he drive for? A team with very few options.
Sato was always quick, but very reckless.
And yet had more wrecks.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely think we're looking at a British IndyCar driver. Dario Franchitti could be another shout.
Dario Franchitti would be about the right age.
He's Scottish, isn't he, Dario
Yes.
Franchitti?
You would assume with a surname like Franchitti has a Scottish or Italian father.
Paul de Resta.
Paul de Resta is his cousin.
No, I'm just saying there's some crackers Scottish names going around.
Well, they're Italian, but yeah.
Big Italian community in Scotland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go Franchitti for the
Yes,
second one.
why not?
That puts him into the pool.
I'm happy with that, yeah.
Yeah.
So Dan Weldon and Dario Franchitti. So we've gone for basically the 2000s IndyCar drivers that weren't American.
Yes.
Yeah.
I.e., the ones we know.
Pretty much, yeah.
7. I have seen gas-powered cars as well as electric cars.
Which would make sense for Franchitti because he presents Formula E.
That is true.
Oh, gas, petrol. Yeah, sorry.
That's
American,
what they call it in America.
Yeah.
It's wrong because it's a liquid.
Liquid, yeah. Strange that. It's like me calling bricks marshmallows. 8. I am one of few who has never seen a turbo-powered F1 car take victory.
What? You've never been watching television over the last 7 years?
So it turns out I am one of few is quite tricky for me to say.
Does Dario Franchitti have something against F1 where he would just not watch?
I think he has a sort of like, hey, I was a champion, so I'm better than people who were not a champion.
Well, he had a test with Jaguar, and apparently they sabotaged his car so that he didn't get taken on.
But yeah, I'm sure he has been on the grid in F1 though, and has been a bit of a smug twat about it, but has been there.
But Dan Weldon would have died.
Would have died before, yeah. Would he have ever done anything electric though?
I'm not sure. Somebody's mic was crackling.
Someone's having proper fun there.
Is it perhaps did Dan Weldon was he at the
Chris, you sound like you're in the loo.
Abort!
Your mic's fallen out.
Try again.
Or you've gone to the toilet.
Stop talking! Hello.
Is that any better?
No.
I think your mic's come loose. Unplug it and plug it back in.
Nice.
Giant flood angry.
Chris smash.
Oh, somehow worse.
Well, fuck this shit.
How high are the ceilings in your place?
Giant flood sad.
I take it that's no better.
No, but still very entertaining.
I will continue in this manner for the remainder of this podcast.
Live from Asgard.
I see all.
Should I kill the chicken in your honour now or finish a total shunt first?
You may finish a total shunt first. Sacrifices can come later.
I will choke that chicken afterwards.
So if it was Dan Weldon, then it would have been before the turbo era.
Yeah. True.
Number
But
9.
what electric car would he have driven?
This is what I don't know.
Justin Wilson's a possibility.
He's not an electric car.
Yeah, what electric car would he have driven?
Yeah, all right. He might have tested Formula E.
Nobody knows anything about Justin Wilson's career. Not even his mum. His mum doesn't even know he's a racing driver.
His brother came fourth on the first series of Big Brother.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Look at you with the Justin Wilson.
Wasn't his brother a total shunt last time we were doing a podcast?
Sean.
Number 9.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I have someone win from 22nd on the grid.
Please repeat the clue.
Yes, Lord. I helped someone win from 22nd on the grid. Your master.
Next clue?
Giant flood vexed.
Am I normal again now?
No.
No.
In which case, I revert.
Number 10.
Yes.
I have seen 8 winners from 8 different centuries.
That's impossible.
8 winners from 8 different centuries.
Yep.
Again, I state that is impossible.
And born in 1975. Sorry, it's Anthony Davidson whose brother was on Big
So
Brother.
it says countries. I've seen 8 winners from 8 different countries.
Oh, heck.
A splash of hilarity, a splash of dyslexia, and that's what we got.
I've seen 8 winners from 8 countries since 1975. I've never seen a turbo car win. It's just going to be the Long Beach circuit.
Long Beach Grand Prix.
Could be the
First
Long
F1
Beach.
race would have been in about 1975. Queen Mary is important. Yeah, the race around it. Helped Takuma Sato win.
Yeah.
After failing in F1, went to kart.
I think they've had a round of Formula E there.
They have.
But I have never seen a turbo-powered F1 car win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they've never raced there.
Are you the Long Beach Street Circuit?
The spaffer is, I'm still involved in IndyCar today, and I am the Long Beach Street Circuit.
There we go.
We got there in the end with divine inspiration from Giant Flood. How do you send in a total shunt?
You can send me a tweet at a total shunt, or when the other things get used again, you can send me a message on Instagram at a total shunt, or what's the other one?
Facebook?
No.
No. Do you do TikTok?
No, no. Oh yeah, there is. No, I am. I'm Must See Audio on TikTok. Oh no, I'm a total shunt on TikTok. If you said if you use it, I'll take a PM on TikTok if I have to.
So if you want to send it in
yeah.
on TikTok, do you have to do like a 30-second interpretive dance for each question?
You do now.
Or miming along to other people's videos. That's a popular thing to
So
do.
yeah, TikTok.
Oh, normal
TikTok,
Flood's back.
Instagram.
Good.
TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at a total shunt. Send it to me. Also, I've got a new podcast called "This Is Cheaper Than Therapy" on Must See Audio. Listen to that.
And you'll probably need therapy after listening to it if it's anything, if your other ones are anything to go by.
It's going down super well actually. Like it's the most positively responded thing I've ever done. If you like Bill Burr's Monday Morning podcast, then This Is Cheaper Than Therapy is probably for you.
Nice.
Talking about the podcast, just want to give a shout out to the guys at Lemonade Lifestyle Automotive Podcast, Niall, Slim, Drew, and the crowd.
Yes.
Who are still doing very fun shows, and they do have an F1 bit.
They have an F1 corner, don't they?
They do, yes.
bit there,
So,
yeah. Otherwise, we'll fuck you up.
Have you seen the size of him?
No, I need to catch up on a few Lemonade Lifestyles, but
Fine. I'm massive too. Grand.
if you haven't listened, go and give those guys a listen because have they? Everyone gone? I'm still here.
I'm here.
Yeah, we're all still here.
It's like you go really quiet and I can't hear you, and then I think, oh, it's all just going to cut off, and then all of a sudden I've spoken, it's obviously been heard, and I think, oh.
It's just because I left my hall in Asgard and joined the mortal realm again. It's probably just messing with the internet
But you
connection
haven't said anything bad.
tonight.
In the last half hour.
Yeah.
And if you want to get in touch with us, you can get us at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Again, Facebook and Instagram when they're working, not at time of going to press. And if you're old school, and also if you want to send in a backup total shunt, you don't have to do it in handwriting. You can email it to 3legs4wheels at gmail.com. And
But
individually,
in case you do, Paul's going to give you his home address.
we'll give address for snacks. And if you want to get in touch with us individually on Twitter, we are
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
and at Pablo100. And are you going to set another one up called at Giant Flood?
Might have to now after that, but I mean, I don't know how it happened.
Complete with cat whining in the background. We will be back next week. Like I say, we'll be a little late. We're not going to be able to record the show until Wednesday, so it'll be out late Wednesday night. So technically, we're only going to be a day and a half late. It's not going to be the end of the world. But we will have a Turkish Grand Prix to look back on, and whatever the fuck the rest of the season's going to look like. We might even know more by then. Oh, apparently Dizzy knows all.
She's got a lot to say about it.
She's always got a lot to say about everything. So, have fun, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Indeed.
Ciao.
Bye.